just content. You're going to be hearing from this person. Whether or not you want to reconnect, that is up to you. But I feel like they're really at a very good emotional space right now. So there's going to be opportunity for healing associated with this person. If you were involved with this person in the past and things have been very, very difficult, I almost feel them coming through as offering like with a peace treaty, a peace gesture, an offer for peace, an offer for like reconciliation as well. Okay, and I feel like at this point in their lives, emotionally they are stable, and emotionally they're in a really good space, and they're ready to be in a relationship. All right, so that's coming through from the past. Others of you are dealing with another earth sign and you're thinking heavily about this person. So this is another Taurus, a Virgo or a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. This is somebody that is, I almost want to say, like, they're very good with their hands. They have a lot of talents. They might be very educated as well. And I'm also sensing as if, you know, they have a very playful energy about them, and they have a very good heart. And I feel almost as if you want to offer this person a proposal, taking the relationship to the next level, building a house together, living together, or even I'm sensing a lot of you like wanting to move the relationship to the next level, wanting to propose to this person even. And I feel like this is something you're thinking about. Because I feel like this is a card about, you know, very, very strong soul connection. It's like no matter who's there in the room, when you cross paths or when your eyes meet, you know they're the one for you, and they know what you're thinking just by looking at you. So I feel like this is a very strong soul connection that you have with another person. They could be another earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and I feel like you want to take the relationship to the next level, and I feel like it can go the distance. Okay, it's very stable, it's very harmonious, and you both are very similar. It's almost like, you know, two people building something together. So it's a really good card for a family. And then I feel some of you are in this current situation where financially you are overcoming financial difficulties. You're feeling quite good about yourself. You might be single as well, and I feel like you want to play the field. So that's just, you know, pretty much like long story short. You're making quite a bit of money. You might be single or you might even be attached. You're making quite a bit of money. And I feel like you're a little bit reckless, okay? You're a little bit reckless with your actions. So it's almost like money and prestige is associated with power. And you feel almost like when I have a lot of money, when I have a lot of, I have a lot of status, I can do whatever I want. So be careful about this, okay? Aim for that moral high ground, Capricorns. Aim to do the right thing because you don't want to veer off track. And I believe I mentioned that with Sagittarius too. So some of you might be dealing with, you know, another fire sign here, a Sagittarius, an Aries, or a Leo. And I feel like they're letting the money get to their head, and they might not behave in a way that is honorable. And I feel like if you're involved with them in a relationship, there might be a little bit of a ego conflict, or even like a moral conflict, like a moral debate, a moral conflict coming through with this fire sign. I feel like they're coming into quite a bit of money, and there's a little bit of a conflict. I feel almost as if they might want out of the relationship. Somebody wants out. It could be you, it could be them wanting out of the relationship, wanting to go back to an ex even. Okay? What's coming through for you guys? We have here the Knight of Swords, and this is a character that you're going to meet for those of you who are single. This is an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, and their energy is that they've dealt with some major, major upheavals in their own life. They're not yet ready to date. It seems almost as if they need to go through some things. They might be newly divorced, they might be newly single, they might be newly like separated. I feel like emotionally they haven't processed whatever happened yet. And so they're at a point where they're looking for a distraction. And I feel like if you're on the dating front, if this sounds familiar, you might want to, take things very, very slowly with them because I feel like they're not ready for a relationship just yet. They're not looking for a relationship and they need some time to properly mourn whatever past relationship that they've dealt with. So they're not just yet ready. Okay, so be careful. Foundation is something that you're bringing to the month with. We have here the Nine of Swords, and the Nine of Swords is kind of like guilt and anxiety about getting caught. We also have here the Ace of Swords, which also indicates a situation where you might be in one relationship and you're eyeing another person from afar. So I feel some of you are in a very, very solid relationship with either an earth sign, so Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and I feel like, well, actually, there are many, many signs showing up here. I feel like you're in a stable relationship. You want something new. And I feel almost like you're flirting outside of the relationship. That's what I'm sensing. Or this is an energy coming through from the partner, okay? But either way, I feel that you have a solid, committed relationship for many of you, and you're planning to take it to the next level, which is really good. And then others of you, you might be in a relationship acting as if you're single. And then for others, if you're involved with a fire sign especially, I feel like they want out. They want to go back to an ex. And I feel like you might have had this conversation already. If you're newly dating an air sign, take it very slow because they're not ready. So very positive cards overall, Capricorns. I'm happy to see this for you guys. And in terms of your relationship sector, we have the World. Let me get the message out. So when I see this card, I usually think about it as being in a relationship with somebody who's very different from us. So they could be of a different nationality, different cultural background, different linguistic background. Just they're very, very different. And I'm also sensing as well, some of you might be, dating or in a relationship with or married to or living with somebody who's very different from you. And it creates a lot of excitement. It also creates, because you're so different from each other, there's a lot of room for growth and there's a lot of room for learning. So this is a beautiful energy. Others of you, you might literally be traveling with a significant partner. I do see overseas travel. I do see the European continent as well as like the British, like the British like British Commonwealth countries. So English speaking countries that might have been colonized earlier. So I feel like some of you are traveling. So New Zealand does come to mind as well as Australia. And I do feel like a lot of long distance travel for many of you. You might be literally traveling with a person that you're in a relationship with, okay, or in a business partnership with as well, because this is also indicative of branching out, expanding your business overseas, expanding your territory, your physical territory in terms of business partnerships. And then for a small minority of you, I feel like you're feeling a little bit trapped, as if you're not really growing anymore in your relationships. And that's for romantic relationships. I feel like some of you feel a little bit held back. I'm sensing some of you want to explore, want to have fun. But I feel like because of this deep-rooted sense of responsibility, you might be staying in a relationship where you feel like it's no longer serving its purpose in your life. You're no longer growing as an individual. So I feel like that's a dilemma that some of you are facing right now. But overall, it's still, I'm sensing like a small minority is dealing with this, okay? The eighth house deals with, this is a psychic house. And it also indicates as well joint finances and inheritance. So I'm looking at this because I believe Sagittarius got a very, very similar card, okay? So in terms of joint finances, there is going to be a new agreement that is reached between you and another person in terms of how you both conduct business, how you manage finances. And I do sense that there's going to be a major milestone. So, like, I do see agreements being reached. I do see peace treaties. And I also feel like, they're saying, like, problems being left behind. when it comes to financial resources that you're dealing with another person. So you're no longer wobbly. I feel that you're going to be able to reach a major milestone, major decision for this month, okay? And what I'm also sensing as well is there might be, if you are financially dependent or involved with another person, like if you have joint assets, I'm sensing for some of you, you or another person, there might be a situation where somebody overspent, or there might be a situation where one person tells the other, I can't make the rent this month, can you help me out? I can't make the car payment this month, can you help me out? I can't pay the child support for the kids this month, can you help me out? So I feel like that type of arrangement is coming through, and they're telling you, I feel like that person is definitely honest. So if that's the case, you know, practice, I guess, practice love and compassion, because I feel like that's what they're dealing with. Okay, they literally can't make the bills, so if you can help them out, I feel like that's going to be very, very good for you overall, in terms of that relationship arrangement. Okay, so your ninth house deals with travel, and it also deals with higher education. So the Sun card basically indicates a lot of success. So this is a card about abundance, success, generosity as well. And in terms of higher education, some of you who are students, this is like acing exams, getting a very, very good grade on a presentation, getting a very good grade on an essay, on an exam, on a group project. I'm also sensing that you're rubbing elbows with very important people as well in the work in the school environment. So you might have some very, very inspiring professors. You might have some really inspiring classmates. You might meet people who are very like-minded. Okay, and likewise, you might also in a school setting, in an academic setting, I feel like you might meet people that can make recommendations for you. They can write letters of recommendations, or they can recommend a job, or they can help you find a job. Okay, so I feel a lot of success is coming through in the ninth house, which basically means that you're in the right environment to learn, but you're also getting like professional success because of your hard work in a school setting. In terms of travel, I feel like some of you might be traveling to a warmer climate. So this is like a tropical holiday. So it is still the winter time in the northern hemisphere. So I feel some of you might be, traveling south, somewhere where it's a little bit more tropical, a little bit warmer. And I'm also feeling some of you might be traveling with a significant other. And I'm also sensing, southern hemisphere. I keep seeing, Mexico, but it might be because it's in the news. But I keep seeing like Latin American countries, as well as not so much the I'm seeing like Latin American countries as well as the Polynesian islands. Okay, so that's travel. If it's being planned right now, then I feel like it might still be taken, by the summertime even. But I'm seeing a lot of like I'm seeing Mexico. I'm seeing like cruises, and I'm also seeing a lot of just the Polynesian islands overall. Um, your higher education house is really lit up, so that means you're going to have achieve a lot of success. So for those of you who are thinking, debating, should I go back to school? The answer here is yes. This is a really good card that indicates your luck is opening up. You're going to have a lot of success as well, okay? Getting very good report cards, so, like 4.0s, 3.0s. So I feel like you're seeing the result of your hard work on the academic front, okay? So keep at it, Capricorns. In terms of your 10th house, the 10th house deals with your career, and it also deals with a situation where it deals with the father. But let me just talk about your career track, because there's a very strong message coming through. This is a card that indicates that, in the past, you might have lost direction as to where you were supposed to be headed, right? So I feel like, you might have had a lot of, skills, you might have had a lot of interests, and you were trying to figure out what should my career be. And I feel like, you figure out where you want it to be after much trial and error. And I feel like you're looking back at the time that was wasted on all the other jobs, on all the other careers, and you're like, I wish I could regain that time because now I feel like I'm older than the rest of my peers, and you feel like that time was wasted. But they're here to remind you that the time is not really wasted, okay? Life is a major journey, it's a process, and a lot of the times we measure our achievements in a linear time frame. But certain things have to be experienced in order for us to get to the next step, okay? And so I feel like for some of you, you might have been like, oh, I shouldn't have wasted 3 years of my life doing that sales job because now my career is different. Well, you learn a lot of new skills in that sales job, right? You learn to be people oriented. You learn customer service skills. You learn to be accommodating. And you also learn to be smart. So I feel like whatever jobs you've had to take in the past, it wasn't wasted. You learn valuable skills to get you where you are right now. So don't beat yourself up over it and don't live with the regrets, okay? So I feel some of you are just like, I wish I hadn't wasted all that time. And then others of you, I feel like there might have been some regrets, some sadness, some regrets, some disappointment when it comes to work that you feel almost like I didn't do it to the best of my capability. So once again, beating yourself up over things. Okay, and it's not helpful at this point, Capricorn. Learn from it, vow to not do that again, and try to move on from it. Okay. I'm seeing, I mentioned the father earlier, but I'm feeling like some regrets about lost time with the father. So you might have wanted a specific type of a relationship with your father, but for whatever reason, there might have been resentment. There might have been um, his absence. So I feel like you're trying to make up for lost time, and I feel that I feel like some of you feel a little bit bad for holding grudges against your father, or your father holding grudges against you. So there is a healing that needs to take place within the family unit as it pertains to your father, okay? We have here the 11th house, which deals with friendships and group associations, with the Temperance card in the reverse position right next to the Five of Cups with the Devil card. I do see alcohol issues, okay? I do see like a lot of excessive drinking, excessive partying, and I feel like in the past this might have been something you were struggling with, or your friends might have been struggling with. And I feel almost as if you've left it behind, but I feel like your peers or your friends are still dealing with this. And so I'm sensing that, you need to be careful about who you get involved with. And you also need to be careful about, figuring out if they need help. If like this is proving to be too much for them, if they need assistance, if they need help, if they need intervention, that is something that you can do and on their behalf, okay? I'm just going to leave it at that because I feel like that message is for a small minority of you, but it is coming through strongly in your friendship circle, okay? The 12th house, we have here the Page of Swords, and this basically indicates a person. This is an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra. And this is something in your environment that you're not aware of. And I feel like there is this person coming through. They're showing up in the reverse position, so that means they're not very frank and direct and honest with their communication. And this is somebody that you might want to be careful about because I feel almost like you think it's over and done.